lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today I'm going to be going through another Kevin Smith comic book. Clerks, a comic book. This is a one-shot. Another one of the books that Kevin Smith produced through Oni Press. You know, I've talked about the Clerks Holiday Special. I've talked about the Oni Double Feature, which had the first appearance of Jay and Silent Bob in a comic book. And, you know, there's some more Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob related comics, but this was the first Clerks comic that came out right after the Oni Double Feature. As a huge Kevin Smith fan and huge Jim Mahfood fan who does the art in this book, I wanted to talk about this one as well. I couldn't leave this one out. And off top, look, you know, at the time when I got this and when I first read it, I wasn't familiar with Los Bros Hernandez, aka Jaime Gilbert and Mario Hernandez. Now that I'm a fan of the Love and Rockets stuff, it's really cool to be able to like kind of pick this out because Gilbert did this cover and he even has his character Fritz underneath Randall's hand on this magazine. I mean, just really awesome that to kind of see Gilbert's take on Dante and Randall, and I think he kind of captures them perfectly. So like I said, it's written by Kevin Smith, Jim Mahfood on art, Sean Conant lettered. Gilbert Hernandez did the cover, and Laura Allred did the colors on the cover. So this comic basically it's about speculators. I mean, I don't know how else to kind of like describe it, and it's so funny that like these things that Kevin Smith was writing about in these comics back then, because kind of saw like some themes in the Oni Double Feature as well, talking industry stuff, and right here this is taking place around the time that the Star Wars movies are being re-released. So like all the Star Wars memorabilia is like really hot, and like it starts off handless Luke, and some of the names for the action figures that he comes up with in here are hilarious. But we're back at the comic shop with Steve Dave, Walt Flanagan, who constantly are always talking shit and basically gatekeepers of comic book fandom. Talking about Wizard in here, mentioning a character called the Savage Lizard, which obviously they're referring to Savage Dragon, a character called the Atlantean. So they're just just commonplace comic book talk. And of course Randall has to throw his 2 cents in. Audacity of what he says just like obviously pisses them off. They realize who it is. He just wants to pay for his stuff so he can get the fuck out of there. Whatever it is that made those two social misfits doesn't rub off on him. And he asks what's up with the Star Wars figures, why is the price so high, and they proceed to talk about why these figures are going for much and how Randall doesn't know shit about like what a foolproof investment it is to invest in the Star Wars merch. And over here too, I love that, as I always say, dude, Mahfood does not miss an opportunity to put cool little Easter eggs in here. Hellboy comics on the shelf, 8-Ball, Optic Nerve, Too Much Coffee Man, Dork, Only Double Features, Scud, The Wretch. So like all these like cool like underground / indie comic book titles, and he's throwing them up on there, which I really, really love the fact that he always does that. And even here, Stray Bullets. I mean, for the eagle-eyed, like you can kind of guess what that is if you know of the book. Sin City in the background. Before we flip, I love this line right here. He said, "What self-respecting business would hire a guy like that anyway?" And then we get to the quick stop. Jay and Silent Bob chilling out front. We got these two guys arguing that Randall couldn't even get there. What a slacker. And of course, as they're yelling at him, he's like, and one of the guys like, "What's stopping me from putting my foot up your ass?" And he says, "Because you're a scumbag junkie jonesing for a video fix, and I'm your pusher." And I love this because even as he gets fucking pissed, he's like, I have a copy of Mighty Ducks 9 hidden under the counter, the one with Emilio in a dress. And it's just hilarious. I mean, that's what I love most about Kevin Smith is his snappy, witty dialogue, constant humor, and it meshes so well with Mahfood's art. all this stuff, about the Star Wars figures is constantly on Randall's mind. He brings, and of course, always the back and forth dialogue between Dante and Randall is always hilarious. Even talking about, he makes a comment about about getting a rim job and a blow job at the same time. And this old lady that's there, she's like, "Well, don't look at me. I'm not gonna rim or blow him." And then Randall gets pissed and asks why not. He tells him, "Just go open the fucking video store already." Fighting is still ensuing over the a battle over Mighty Ducks. And then as Randall walks off, leaving the fighting to continue to take place, reading a toy magazine, goes to Dante and proposes, like, let's invest in these Star Wars figures. Dante says you can count him out. I'm not doing it, and like he doesn't even let him get out his proposal, and and the fact that like Randall's like completely feeding into speculator. Dante's the reason one saying, once his re-release is over, like all this stuff is going to go away. That's going to be overexposure, which is exactly what happens in the industry, in the comic book industry, in all these industries. Like eventually the bubble pops, but that doesn't stop Randall from wanting to do it. And as he goes to a toy store, he finds a figure on there. They all laugh at him because he thinks it's a rare figure when really it's one of the most overproduced figures. This is the guy that will end up kind of abusing his power as a clerk at a toy store to kind of make money off of all these toy nerds, right? And I love it because he's getting Randall in this issue, in this particular scene, is getting the same treatment that he does to other customers by him becoming the focus of their sarcasm. And then that's the figure that he picked up that he thought he was so smart getting, ends up being worthless. He comes back to the video store. Dante's pissed. Finally agrees to join Randall on his scheme to to kind of like start making money off the toys. They go back to this, what he calls insider trading, and it's the loading dock of the toy store. And that clerk that was there, who's only 17 years old, he makes people beg and come sitting on like a throne and stuff, and just to so that they can get some of the exclusive figures, the chase figures. And chase figures, for anybody that doesn't know, are like the one per case. Like you have one of the figures as opposed to every other figure's like four or five, right? And Randall ends up appealing to him. He gives him some money. He gets the elusive Wave 69. He takes those, brings them back to the video shop, and he starts hawking them at the RSC video store. Jay's pissed because everybody's spending their money on toys and they have no more money for weed. So he, with his hetero life mate Silent Bob, decides he's gonna do something about it. And then of course, Steve, Dave, Walt are wondering why their business is slow, and they come to the video store and they see like, holy shit, how does he have these figures? Incestuous Luke and Leia double pack. Just like I said, hilarious names. He tells him how, and then he tells him how he got the figures. Then we see this truck for the toy shop, and Jay and Silent Bob stop the truck, and obviously they're up to some mischief. Cuts back to Dante Randall. They come back to this punk ass 17-year-old kid, and they are going to get the next wave. And the reason he's rewarding them is because he loves that Randall's trying to crush Steve, Dave, and Walt Flanagan, and they come to him. Steve, Dave, and Walt come to this kid to get the figures, and now they're begging for him. And the only way they're gonna get anything is Steve Dave offers up Walt Flanagan and his many orifices to use as he sees fit. And right as shit is about to go down, the truck pulls in and Jay floods the market. Everything's at a lower price, 3 for $5, and all these nerds eat it up. And then Walt says, fuck you now. I don't have to blow you. But Randall fucking points out, yeah, but just knowing you would have done it is almost worse. And Walt's pissed as he leaves. And Randall's still all like high on like getting these toys and flipping them. And Dante has to kind of shake him out of it. He's like, now they're worthless because, the market has been flooded so the value of them has dropped, and that's just so true in comic books. Like, 1 month a particular issue can be going for a lot of money, and then people think like, okay, like the next issue is going to be really popular too, but then the orders go up for it, so now there's more copies of like the next issue as opposed to not so many of that one issue that was more sought after. So I really like this issue. I think it's really cool that Kevin Smith kind of put that in this comic book, to kind of like talk about like the industry and the speculation market, because this is in '98, so this is like pretty much after the speculator boom in comics was going on and the bubble popped. To see that it's still happening is kind of ironic, like, and just shows like that this comic book is everything that's going on in here. You could literally have made this comic book last month and it would still be just as relevant. And Jim Mahfood's art, as always, pleasure to see paired up with Kevin Smith, and I highly recommend this book. It shouldn't be too hard to find. All the Kevin Smith books, I think, are in trade in one collection, or even the back issues. They're not too expensive. So any Kevin Smith fan, Jim Mahfood fan, pick this up. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you're notified, and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video goes up. And on that note, I'm out.